CBR.com is comicbookreader.com for short, and it sucks. Comic Book Reader is as trash as Marvel Comics and DC Comics have become. You might remember they had a very interesting Captain America article that was so poorly received they deleted it off of the site and acted as if it never happened. Well, here's another good one. Star Wars. Toxic masculinity is the real reason Anakin Skywalker fell to the dark side.
Your thoughts?
What? It's time for an interesting read, children. Star Wars Anakin's fall to the dark side as a result of the toxic masculinity in which he is raised and trained? What? What?
No!
As the drag queens say, my wig was snatched. Already. Toxic masculinity in which he was raised and trained? That's not how the Jedi Order works. This article is fake news. You gotta be shitting me. How very dare you? Darth Vader of the Star Wars saga is one of the most famous and recognizable villains in cinema history. When he was first introduced in 1977 Star Wars A New Hope, little was known about the deeply tragic backstory, but years later, the prequels detailed young Anakin Skywalker's tragic fall from the Jedi's chosen one to the Sith Lord Vader, while he was manipulated by the Emperor. The real reason Anakin fell to the dark side was the environment of toxic masculinity in which he was raised and trained by the Jedi. On what planet is the Jedi Order toxic masculinity? Where? If you know anything about the Jedi Order outside of the Star Wars movies, you know the tenets of the Jedi. All right, the Jedi Code. There is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. There is no passion, there is serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. There is no death, there is the Force. All right? I don't know, maybe I'm retarded, but I didn't see anything toxic in there. Fake news. There's no emotion, there's peace. That's toxic masculinity. I can hear it right now. There's no ignorance, there's knowledge. Mansplaining. There's no passion, there's serenity. I don't even know how you can flip that. There's no chaos, there's harmony. Don't know how you can flip that. There's no death, there's the Force. It means you become one with the Force. There is no death, you understand? All right, I need to stop. Let's just move on with this or I'll go all day. Toxic masculinity in the Jedi Council lie.
And a powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us. Luminous beings, are we, not this crude matter.
I don't know if you're noticing a theme. Patriarchy.
I'm offended on some level. Toxic masculinity does not mean that all masculinity is toxic. It refers to the expectation that men prioritize stoicism, violence, and other stereotypes of masculinity. Where the hell is there violence in the Jedi Code? The Jedi way is to avoid violence. It's a lot like martial arts, like Wing Chun or something. They probably look at the Ip Man movies and go, Ip Man is toxic masculinity. He respects his wife and makes her tea. What a bigot. Well, you need to be stoic in order to use the Force. If you have emotions with the Force, it can lead you to the dark side. As Sartre Gautama said, the Buddha, attachment is the root of all suffering. That's what led to Anakin's fall. There's a lot of Buddhism in Star Wars, in my opinion, too, as well as Taoism. There's so much there, dude. These stereotypes are detrimental to men and women, as well as society as a whole. The Jedi Order raised Anakin in an environment saturated with toxic masculinity ideals, and the outcome was his tragic turn from the light to dark side. Christ have mercy, help me. How can you take Star Wars and turn it into this? Who watches it and then goes, everything here is toxic masculinity? My God, growing up as a man, you need stoicism, because I can assure you, dating women, you better find some peace in yourself, because there's a lot of chaos with women. Oh my God, this is retarded. I thought the Captain America CBR was trash. This is next level. The Jedi do not intentionally encourage toxic masculinity. What about women? Are they toxic masculine too? However, They foster it with Anakin because they teach him to fear all of his emotions. No, they don't teach you to fear emotions. They teach you... Oh my God. Do you remember what Master Yoda said?
Your thoughts dwell on your mother.
I miss her.
Afraid to lose her, I think.
What does that got to do with anything?
Everything. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
My God, it's like this person knows nothing of Star Wars. They paid attention to nothing, and they'd watched it with the notepad and look for things they could go, yes, this is toxic masculinity. Is Yoda toxic? Yoda taught Anakin. Yoda's literally Green Buddha.
You who transform into the Force, mourn them do not, miss them do not. Attachment leads to jealousy. The shadow of greed, that is.
Anakin already had fear in himself. He had a fear of loss. They were trying to teach him to separate himself from his fear, or it would lead him to the dark side. And he never did. He suffered from... Oh my God, no, I'm not going to do this, because then I could talk about the Star Wars movies all day. Nobody's got time for that. It actually created feelings of isolation and desperation and amplified aggressive and anger-driven responses. No, he already had those problems. See, you didn't understand. You didn't watch the movies, you charlatan. What do they call people like this? You fraud. Qui-Gon brought Anakin to Master Yoda. And Yoda was already like, no, he's too old and he's already got hang-ups at 6. Troubled he is. And they forced Anakin there because of midichlorians. We're not even getting into that. Even George Lucas misses the ball sometimes. This lack of emotional intelligence is both the cause and result of toxic masculinity, which is the path that transformed the earnest and open Anakin Skywalker into the angry, hateful Darth Vader. You know why Darth Vader was so miserable and angry? His whole existence was pain at that point. More Star Wars lore. Emperor Palpatine was a piece of shit, okay? To put it lightly. He kept Anakin alive, put him in that suit to keep him breathing. It forces oxygen in his body, and it's painful. Every breath he takes is painful. Every step he takes, every move he makes, it's painful. Yes, they could have created a suit that wouldn't cause him pain, but for some reason, which makes no point with Star Wars, realistically, look it up yourself. Emperor Palpatine was saving money on Darth Vader's suit, bro. Literally, Emperor Palpatine was just the American government when it came to healthcare. No joke. They cut every corner they could with Vader's suit. Meanwhile, Palpatine is splurging on the Death Ray Death Star. It's pretty much like the American government, in my opinion. It's absolutely wild. On top of that, Palpatine made sure that the suit was susceptible to Force lightning. So that way, if Vader ever decided to kill him or go after him, Palpatine could defeat him. That's why Vader died at the end of Star Wars, because his suit literally couldn't take Force lightning. It was built with that flaw in it. Whatever, we're moving on. We got time for me to talk about Star Wars. Do you know that Star Wars girl sent this to me? I shouldn't have read it. I should have known. If she sent it to me, it'd be something that she knew with. If the Jedi had allowed Anakin to express emotions from his young age and utilize healthy coping mechanisms, he would have been prepared when he was overcome with love and lust for Padme during Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Dude, he lived like a monk. I mean, when you think about it, Anakin handled it well, considering he ended up with Padme. If you look at Twitch, there's so many dudes that are overcome with love and lust for some broad throwing literal cake on her tits that they just can't help but throw money at them. When you think about it, Anakin was very well adjusted. Young men today need Jedi training. Therefore, instead of being rash and secretive, he might have approached the situation with a level head. Okie dokie. Similarly, the Jedi should have taught him how to deal with the separation anxiety he had from being taken from his mother. They tried to teach him that. Did this woman watch the right movie or what? I don't think so. You thought the Jedi just, locked him in a room? The visions he had of her death and suffering would still be painful, but he would be able to cope with them. They tried that. You see, Anakin's flaw was he was a slave to his fear. Fear leads to the dark side. She didn't watch this goddamn movie. This broad probably watched a couple YouTube videos and then pieced together her whole article from that. Also, he would have been able to seek genuine help after her death instead of isolating himself. You can't get genuine help from a Jedi Master. I guess Anakin needed, like, a therapist. The Republic should have looked into therapy for Jedi. He was suffering from Force PTSD or something. I don't even know. Literally, you have Master Yoda in the other room giving you guidance, and this chick's like, no, an 800-year-old wise alien isn't good enough. He needed the proper care and attention. Like I said, Anakin had problems. He probably wasn't fit to be a Jedi. 2, emotions lead to the dark side. All of them. That's why the Jedis had to be in control of their emotions. They're like monks. What do you think monks, in wherever the they are, where's that monk temple where all of them are bald and they don't touch women and they wear robes all day? Whatever. Why do you think that, like, the religion requires that for them to ascend to a higher plane of being? If you have any vice, it can be exploited and used. Why do you think Steven Tyler is a mess? Because he indulged every vice he had. Now he looks like an 80-year-old lesbian. After failing to stop the death of his mother or even have the ability to mourn healthily, Anakin was traumatized and feared the cycle of loss would repeat itself. Therefore, when there was a threat to Padme's well-being, he turned to the Emperor and the dark side of the Force to help. Once again, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, blah, 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 suffering. He was drawn to the dark side for its potential to control life and death, and he was driven away from the Jedi and the light side by their purposeful lack of emotional support. There's like no blame going on Palpatine, who's a master manipulator that's been alive for a long time. This dude's been manipulating events. He literally manipulated the Republic while also controlling I can't remember the robot group. I know it starts with a C. And he was able to manipulate Yoda's pupil, Count Dooku, all right? The dude was a master of Machiavellian string pulling. He finds some sort of gap in your emotional response and pulls on it. And I'm sure this woman who wrote this can understand. I'm 100% sure she's been manipulated by some dudes at some point who just gave her the right sort of tickle of her emotional inadequacies, and she fell hook, line, and sinker. That's why chicks love bad boys. They're literally the Emperor Palpatine of... It's like, your boyfriend doesn't understand your deeper needs, but I do. I can't do a Palpatine voice, okay? How do you feel about 50 Shades of Grey? He'd never do that with me because he's so uptight. Well, I'm a sexual maven. I don't know. It sounds wrong when I do it. I'm sorry. What was my point? What purposeful lack of... What about the Sith? Well, the Sith basically is about indulging all of your vices. So it's like... Palpatine knows Anakin has something wrong. He can feel the dark side already there. He's already like, this kid is not in control of himself, but he's very strong. I can manipulate this. And Count Dooku, my past boy, is getting a little old. I need a little young man around here who can take off his shirt and paint my walls. All right, forget it. Anakin was only able to finally defeat the Emperor and the dark side when he broke free from toxic masculinity. During the climax of Star Wars, The Return of the Jedi... What? Instead of pushing down his feelings as the Jedi taught him, he saved Luke based on the attachment grown out of potential parental instincts. And, oh my God. Even when Darth Vader was on the dark side, blowing up entire planets and killing people, it was the Jedi's fault. This sounds like something written by a woman. It's like the good guy who tried to take care of you. He's the dirtbag. He's the root of all your issues. And it's not the bad guy you're with. The guy who's on the dark side of the Force. There's nothing wrong with him. It's the good. It's the light side of the Force. They didn't give you enough of what you needed to keep you away from the dark side of the Force. Yes, Queen. I understand now. Oh my God. Anakin killed the Emperor. He broke free of his toxic masculinity to stop the Emperor, who manipulated him for years. Anakin killed the Emperor and saved Luke's life, giving in to the feelings of love and attachment with his fire allowed himself to feel. He overcame the toxic masculinity that plagued him all of his life. If he had been allowed earlier to feel his emotions and not fear them, Anakin might have never fallen to the dark side. This is journalism. Take something that has absolutely nothing to do with current societal stupid issues and then write an article on it. I am actually amazed. This was crap. And I'm sorry if you actually sat through this. It would have been much longer. It would have been much longer if I didn't stop myself routinely to talk about Star Wars lore. But mother of God. Oh. This is why we got the Star Wars we got recently with Rey. Because Disney and Kathleen Kennedy were catering to people like this. And luckily we got The Mandalorian because Kathleen Kennedy just greenlit it because she didn't care and she thought it would be nothing. Because she was so focused on her trilogy that she thought was going to be like the pinnacle of Star Wars. She literally didn't give a rat's ass about this smaller project. And that turned out to be the thing that saved Star Wars for Disney. Christ in heaven. Ugh. Look at this rotted skunk over there twisted in the corner.